It's still quite early in the season, but with Christmas right around the corner, this is typically a good checkpoint to take a look at the landscape of the league and scope out how things are stacking up. The awards races are always an exciting thing for basketball fans to monitor, and today, that's where our attention will be turned to. For today's video, we will be going through each of the major awards, and we'll be picking out who the early winner of each one is at this point in time, while also discussing a few runners-up right behind them in the running, who still do have a realistic shot at catching up by the end of the season. The awards include, of course, the Most Improved Player, the Sixth Man of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, the Rookie of the Year, and the MVP. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. We'll start with the Most Improved Player award, and the early winner here this season is Dyson Daniels of the Atlanta Hawks. Daniels got traded to Atlanta from New Orleans this offseason, and it was probably the best thing that could have possibly happened for his career. In his own words, Daniels has said in an interview that he felt like New Orleans was a cursed place with terrible injury luck and overall bad juju, but now in Atlanta, he's being fully unleashed as the team's starting shooting guard next to Trae Young in the backcourt. Daniels might legitimately be one of the most impressive and best overall perimeter defenders in the whole league right now, leading the league in steals, snatching 3 of them per game, while also absolutely locking down his matchup every night. Then offensively, Daniels has previously struggled to find ways to be effective as a Pelican, as he's never been the greatest shooter in the world and wasn't really trusted to handle the ball much either there, but this season in Atlanta, he has more than doubled his previous scoring output, going from being a 6-point per game scorer to putting up 13 per game this season. His work as a slasher and cutter off the ball is shining, he's a smart and quick decision maker as a passer, and he doesn't try to do too much with it. Now, as for the others in the mix for the award, we have Norman Powell and Tyler Hero. Powell has been a pretty steadily reliable scoring threat in the league for years, typically averaging between 16 and 19 points per game, but this season, with Paul George leaving the Clippers, there were more shots up for grabs, and Powell has comfortably taken on that load, putting up a highly efficient 24 points per game so far this year. As for Tyler Hero, he's been in a pretty similar boat as Powell, scoring a pretty consistent 20 points per game year after year for most of his career, but this season, he's playing more aggressive, taking on the go-to role in the offense, and is also putting up about 24 points per game. Next up is the Sixth Man of the Year award, and the early winner here is Peyton Pritchard of the Boston Celtics. Pritchard has shown glimpses of being a crafty scoring threat in the past, but with how deep the Celtics rosters have been over the last few years, he hasn't always gotten a consistent chance to show it. This year, he's solidified himself as that first player coming off the bench for the defending champions, and immediately ignites the team's offense with a spark. He's putting up about 16 points per game this season, which nearly doubles his previous career high of 9 per game, and he's doing so while bombing a high volume of threes and knocking them down at a ridiculous 43% clip. Pritchard has easily been one of the best shooters in the NBA this year, and what makes him so dangerous is that he's also very capable of attacking off the dribble if defenses overextend on him, so he very easily has been taking advantage of the opportunities that come his way when defenses are overexerting themselves, trying to shut down guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Other players in the mix for this award are DeAndre Hunter and Amen Thompson. DeAndre Hunter missed an extended stretch of games early on due to injury, but since his return to the court, he has been playing the best basketball of his life, and is actually scoring more than Pritchard, putting up 20 points per game. If he keeps that up, he could definitely give Pritchard a run for his money, but he needs to get more games under his belt first. As for Thompson, he's someone who subs in for Houston and immediately starts making plays on the defensive end as an absolutely elite perimeter defender who has become very well versed as an off-ball cutter and dangerous transition threat. Next is the Defensive Player of the Year award, and the early winner here is Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby was the runner-up here as a rookie last season, and this year, he's once again doing some ridiculous things on the defensive end. After leading the NBA in blocks as a rookie last year, he's once again doing the same this season, swatting 3.8 shots per game. He's also snagging over 1 steal per game. He's making life hell for opponents trying to score anywhere in his general vicinity, and the Spurs allow a pretty glaring 8.7 fewer points per 100 possessions when he's on the court versus when he's on the bench, showing how key he is to their success on that end. The fact that the Spurs have a winning record right now and are in the playoff mix is a testament to how impactful Wembanyama is to this young team, and he's the favorite for this one for a reason. As for the others in the mix here, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jalen Suggs. The Grizzlies' season last year was a wash due to injuries to most of their best players, but with them all back healthy this season, they as a team have picked up right where they left off 2 years ago and are once again a top 5 defense, looking to make some noise led by Jaren Jackson Jr.'s versatility on that end of the floor. As for Jalen Suggs, he is a menace out on the perimeter, fighting through screens, hounding ball handlers, and making life hell for ball handlers every second that he's in the game, and is a big reason why the Magic have a top 3 ranked defense this year. Next up is the Rookie of the Year race, and the early winner here is Stephon Castle of the San Antonio Spurs. The Rookie of the Year race is as wide open as it's been in a pretty long time because this class has been considerably weaker than classes of the past, and the one player that was producing close to a star level, leading the charge most of the season, just suffered a season-ending injury, so he's out of the running. Castle has been terrific though, so we're not here to take anything away from him by any means. Where he has been shining since day one is on the defensive end, as he too is quickly becoming an unbelievable perimeter defender despite being so young, and that was what made him so special at UConn last year too, when they won the national championship. But what has been a bit of a pleasant surprise is how effective he has been as a scorer. He's not really scoring the ball efficiently yet, but that's the story with most rookies, but he is still putting up a respectable 11 points per game, using his strong frame to attack the rim and finish well around the basket, draw fouls, and even has shown off a pretty inspiring ability to create looks for those around him as a playmaker too. As for the other rookies in the running right now, one is previous leader Jared McCain, and the other is surprise candidate Yves Missy. McCain would be running away with this award if he hadn't gotten injured, as he was on a tear, scoring over 20 points in 8 games already. Missy of the Pelicans is quietly proving to be a reliable starting center already, averaging 9 points and 9 rebounds per game, nearly averaging a double-double, blocking over 1 shot per game, operating well as the screener in the pick and roll, and defending well in the minutes that he gets too. So he may not be a flashy candidate, but he is definitely in the mix. And finally, the early winner of the MVP award so far this season is Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks season started pretty horrifically, losing 8 of their first 10 games, but since that point, they have turned things around completely, and Giannis is taking his game to a whole new level, which is a big reason why. The Bucks just won the NBA's in-season cup tournament, taking home some early hardware, with Giannis being named the MVP of that event, and now on the year as a whole, the Bucks are 15-12, surging back up the standings. Giannis himself is leading the entire NBA in scoring, putting up a career-high 33 points per game, shooting a career-best 61% from the field, and he's also putting up about 12 rebounds and 6 assists per game as well. And defensively, he has been doing everything trying to keep the Bucks afloat. He gets it done on both ends in a way that other players simply cannot pull off, and he's producing at an absolutely elite rate, winning enough to stay in the mix near the top of the Eastern Conference. As for the other candidates in the running right now, we have Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Jokic is the favorite in the eyes of many right now, but the reason I give Giannis the slight edge is because of his work as a two-way elite player and the fact that he has led the Bucks to winning the NBA Cup, while the Bucks and the Nuggets are also both 3 games above 500, so neither team is winning more than the other. Jokic is still having an unreal season on the offensive end, nearly averaging a 30-point triple-double, and will definitely push hard for this award as the season season progresses, though. SGA is in the running because he is leading his Thunder squad once again to the top of the Western Conference standings as the 1 seed, while he himself is putting up an efficient 30 points per game of his own. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment who your picks for each of these awards so far this season is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.